Hello? Hello? Hit that like button. Let's get this going. Hello? What's up, y'all? How we doing? Hello? Good morning or good day wherever you are. Are we ready to look at some new cards? Peters, I'm doing all right. How are y'all doing this morning? I'm excited about this set, y'all. I know it's tough occasionally to get excited about MTG nowadays, especially when it's something new that WotC is showing us and not us just playing Commander like we really want to. But I'm excited for this set. So far, these Planeswalkers look just crazy pushed. I'm excited to see specifically some mechanics, and I want to see some legendaries. Bobby Z coming through. Everybody wave at Bobby Z, mod on the channel, commissioner of our Commander League. Member for 20 months, Bobby Z. Thank you so much. Oh, I do think you like your little buffaloes, don't you? Everybody, if you want to get a little emote access, you can see all the emotes there in chat from our green named people. Little badge next to your name. If you already subscribed to us, clicking that membership, that join button down below the video will get you access to that. Let's talk about some cards. My whole thing is just off today, huh? There we go. It's good we're adjusting this before we get involved. This card is like crazy pushed, right? Good or bad? Let me know in chat. What do you think of this? Good or bad? And I'm talking specifically Commander. Because to me, this looks insane. We haven't seen 70% of the set yet, Buzz. We have seen a good amount of it. But it wasn't official. Now it's going to be official. We got 6 minutes to the premiere. You can see right there. 6 minutes to the premiere of the debut. But so far, like, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Tyvar. Holy crap. Activate abilities of creatures you control as though they had haste. Untap up to one target creature for the uptick. Then mill 3 cards, return a creature card, mana value 2 or less from a graveyard straight to the battlefield for the double down tick. Yes. Keto, some Phyrexian mana symbols, actually. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Somebody messaged me in Discord some high-res Phyrexian mana symbols. We'll get those going. We can add those. We'll add those as emotes. That's completely fine. Tyvar has been very, very talked about. I think people really like this walker. Hector Rogel Martinez joining the token creatures. Thank you, Hector. Appreciate that. Hector, you get our anthem, which is +1/+1/+1, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and indestructible. But we do have to sacrifice one of you at the beginning of each upkeep, so just when we go to pick, just keep your eyes averted, keep your eyes down so you don't get picked to be sacrificed. Hey, some names require a soccer goal call. That's a name that does. I love that name. This is one of my favorite ones so far. I legitimately want to put this in a commander deck. -2 to have a creature just become a treasure straight up. Proliferate on a 0 on a planeswalker. Plus, yeah, draw a card to that. Ooh, baby. And then you're looking at a win con on the bottom. Target player has fewer than 9 poison counters. They get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. So everybody's going to be at 9. Yas. This one seems very sweet to me. Yeah, Jalen, they're spoiling today. So let me talk about what this stream is going to be. We are going to watch the debut of Phyrexia All Will Be One. There will be a lot of information all just kind of crammed into this all at once. We're going to see some mechanics. We're going to see some cards. We're going to see probably all of the different like showcases and frames and variants that you can open up in this set. It's going to be a good time. We're going to see a lot. Jay Bano, welcome to the Token Creatures. You also get our anthem. Hopefully you're not the one that we sacrificed at the beginning of our next upkeep. Thank you very much. 59% of you want to become complete. 59% of you said don't resist. All will become one. All will become one. Two minutes till the premiere. So we got this debut stream going on. They're going to give us a lot of information, and I just want to tell you, I will be talking over it. This is available on Twitch and on YouTube. If you want to go watch it without me talking over it, go watch it without me talking over it. You can find the exact video link. But if you want to hang out and kind of discuss some stuff, that's what we're going to be doing here. Joe Simon, I do assume, yeah, Jace is completed. Oh, is Jake completed? I glanced at it and said, is Jace completed? Jake is completed. It is Annie's birthday today. Everybody say happy birthday, Annie. So Jake is taking the day off to be with Annie. So you must deal with me, the Praetor. Yeah, did anybody read the lore yet? I finished reading it last night. Things did not go well. I'll put it that way. Things did not go well for the heroes. I gotta know what happened with frickin' Elspeth. Oh, you're about halfway? All right, Matt. For your sake, for the people whose sake of who hasn't read it, there's 2 more lore today. Oh, side lore. Got it. A story tie-up? Elliot, did you read a story tie-up? I'm curious if that story tie-up gives us any information on where Elspeth went. And that's all I'll say. Jay Lord, thank you for stopping by. Good luck with work today. We'll catch you soon. I'm going to do a little recap video after we get done with the stream today. I'm going to go through and shoot a little video, kind of go over everything we saw in one little chunk so everybody can see our reactions to it. Yeah, Sour Weasel, that's a whole thing. I actually, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, that'd be cool if we get some sort of corrupted version card. That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, I gotta say that I have loved how they've rolled out the lore for this one, minus the huge leak of those. And it wasn't really a leak, right? It was just the cards got accidentally printed into like a Dominaria remastered draft box. So we saw a bunch of cards from it, but hey, Kyle, but we got, I'm really in favor of how they rolled out the lore, how they rolled out the planeswalkers, sort of 1-2 at a time, 2 a day, something like that. Matt, you said it, not me. You said it, not me, my friend. I said that at the end of my video about the leaks. Reporting is talking about information that people don't want you to know, that someone doesn't want you to know. Everything else is just advertising. So what am I looking forward to today? And chat, let me know if you have any specifics that you're looking forward to. I really am looking forward to seeing Jace's card, because Mind Sculptor Jace broke the game in half when it was printed. I'm kind of in favor of that. Let's get some Jace that absolutely is legacy, modern, pioneer, standard, commander, all playable. I want a ridiculous version of completed Jace. I would also like Jeff Mangeson. I'm with you on this one, pal. I want to see that Atraxa card. Jace and Atraxa are probably the two cards I'm most looking forward to hopefully seeing today. No, Corey, this is not the end. If anything, Corey, this is the beginning. I don't know if you read the lore, but the next set is called March of the Machines. I'll put it that way. The whole attack on New Phyrexia didn't go great. Keto, I would assume that this is when Jace is going to fully embrace black as a secondary color. I would assume we're going to get a blue-black Jace. Because, I mean, characters like Ashiok, they got these mental powers. But, and this is kind of a cool thing that the story this time around highlighted. Jace was talking about in the lore, he like has to concentrate. He has to make a concerted effort all the time not to break people's minds. His mental powers are so strong that he has to focus on like not screwing with people's brains accidentally. Now, when he is Phyrexian, it seems like that would be beneficial to his goals as part of the one to break some minds. Jace has always kind of been going back and forth on his secondary color, right? Like, he doesn't really know if he was blue-black or blue-white, so to speak. The whole last chapter of the story, he's like fighting off the infection, resisting the infection, and still trying to accomplish his hero goal as much as he can. And one of the characters remarks, you know, they've been in battles with Jace before, and whenever Jace would get injured, he just puts up an illusion around himself so that other people can't see that he's injured, because he doesn't want that like morale drop. He's just like, well, I can just cover that up, make it look like I'm good, and I'm good to go. And for this, he was just not covering anything up, and other characters were looking at him going, holy shit, he is so screwed up right now that he's just like, I'm not even gonna try and cover this up. I am like dying over here. I'm not putting up any illusions. So really cool story this time around. I haven't caught up on the lore since that War of the Spark novel made me swear off MTG lore, and I was a pretty voracious consumer of MTG lore up until that point. That novel was poopy, to say the least, and so I sort of stopped engaging with that side of things, but I picked it back up on this. Now it makes me kind of want to go back and read through the Kaldheim stuff, the Streets of New Capenna stuff, see what all the fuss has been about, because it's been pretty sweet. All right, homies, here we go. Who's ready? Hands in chat if you're ready.
The perfection of Elishanorn has to be inherited and shared by everyone.
There is no doubt in her mind that her way is the right way.
It is a great honor if you are completed and become a full Phyrexian. You either build the glory or become it, but you will be a part of Phyrexia.
Hello, Magic fans, and
Yeah, I don't
welcome
know,
to the
Silver.
debut of Phyrexia, All Will Be One. I'm Lady Danger from the Command Zone podcast, here to help prepare you for the greatest threat the Magic multiverse has ever faced, the insidious biomechanical empire of New Phyrexia. In this set, our Planeswalker heroes are taking the fight right to the Phyrexians. So let's see what's in store for them once they arrive.
Finally, you get to see Phyrexia in all its glory, as Phyrexians themselves, and Elish Norn specifically envisioned it. There is an element of inscrutability and mystery in Phyrexia. I want people to feel a little bit like outsiders, but very curious. It's a fascinating world. That fascination comes through in the art. This gives you a pause, right? You don't know what might attack you. So for this set, we're reprinting a popular cycle of dual lands. With Phyrexia, we really get to dive into the dark surrealism, and we had to reimagine and visualize how they could be happening here in Phyrexia. We had to create new environments that would express not just the gameplay, but also this conflict between
Borderless
factions
versions
and
look
how
sweet.
each faction carries out its influence with Necrogen, with Ichor, with Molten Metal. So we get to see these elements across the lands. The Glorious Facade is an extra layer that was built on top of the old Mirrodin. Phyrexians have scrapped a lot of the metal in old Mirrodin, and they have created an entire new sphere where they have built tons of monuments to glorify themselves. It's their vision for the rest of the multiverse. And the Twilights in particular are monuments to each of the Praetors. It was our way to have more Praetor presence in the set. Each of the Praetors is engaging the suns of different color manas. Shieldred's Black Sun's Twilight comes at a point where the black
Saw
sun
this one in
comes
that
too
leak.
close to the surface.
card is so sick.
and it looks very large. But as large as it looks, Shieldred rises above it because Shieldred is all about imposing herself. Jingitaxias is grabbing the blue sun. Jingitaxias is the one who wants to study everything and exploit it for his own purposes. So his monument is doing exactly that. At a certain point in the day, the blue sun aligns with the monument to Jingitaxias in a way that it seems like he's studying it. Urabrask is reaching for the red sun in his monument. We gave him a redesign in this set to make him look more combat ready, more aggressive, and streamlined too. Urabrask, however, emphasizes individuality and uniqueness. So he never quite grabs the sun. He's the only Phyrexian who lets everyone be themselves. Vorinclex is one of my favorite Phyrexians.
Hell
The monument
yes.
is Vorinclex just devouring the sun. The sun comes and aligns with Vorinclex's monument in a way that it just goes into his maw. It's this Darwinian disposition to vanquish the weak. The White Sun's Twilight, the monument to Elish Norn, opening her hands to receive the White Sun, the mana. You see a lot of like little skitterlings coming out of the monument, a bunch of Phyrexian mites. In the card, it's the mana that you use
Gain X,
to empower
create X
yourself.
1/1s
You
with
create
toxic one,
a number
can't
of mites
block.
equal to the number of
X is
mana that
5
you
or
pay,
more, destroy all
and
other
you gain
creatures.
an amount of life.
This card is gonna
you
dominate
get
your
incredible
pre-releases.
rewards for this.
If you get
can
this
destroy
card, you're running it.
all creatures.
I don't care if you get
depending on
another
how
white
much mana
card,
you
you're
have.
running
And so
this.
the monument expresses that incredible power that Elish Norn is attaining and will
I'm
attain.
Joel, Dragon
The
Ball.
Fair Basilica's shapes are pointing at the center. And we created actually a hallway going into the Basilica. That's impressive like any ancient Roman monument would be. You see a row of not cypress trees, but they're sinew trees. They have this shape, right? It's the flesh of all who have been taken. You see some ossified Phyrexians in the front of the building, raising their arms to the glory of Elish Norn. Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, is one of my favorite arts. All of these aspirants just dedicated themselves so much to Elish Norn that they've decided to just become ossified and placed in her throne where she sits and she raises her arm. It's not just a gesture of glory and power, but also reaching for the multiverse. Atraxa is what everyone wants to be here.
Here we go.
An ultimate completed Phyrexian in a high position, close to Elishnorn.
Let's see it.
The art was made by Marta Nael. Such a great palette. It just gives it this surrealistic touch of otherworldly divinity. Atraxa's raising her arms. She's coming in with other angels. And the aspirants, who are humans who want to be fully completed. When we were working on Koth, we were trying to think, how can we depict a very strong planeswalker? This is a very passionate resistance fighter. He's beheaded a Phyrexian. There's other Phyrexians drowning in the molten metal
So
that
close.
Koth is manipulating.
Thought we were gonna see
His
a
pose is
Traxxas
that
right
of
there, dude.
confidence. Kaito represents this resistance element against
Kaito's card
Phyrexia.
is
So you
sick,
see these
by the way.
looming
I don't know if
suns,
you've seen it yet.
and you see these looming
Super excited to
monuments.
play it.
And oil is shooting at Kaito, but Kaito is slashing through it, taking it apart. His presence and his action are literally tearing through the composition. The Eternal Wonder is cutting through a Phyrexian, but also cutting through the lair itself. This is a beautiful piece by Alex. It's made in oils. It's just a traditional painting.
Oh, that's
The
nice.
Wanderer finds herself in the middle of the Hunter's Maze, and she makes quick work of it. I love the smile of confidence that she has. This is easy work to destroy a Phyrexian for her. You will definitely
Light work.
travel to an alien world here. Nothing is meant for regular human eyes to appreciate. You need to become completed a little bit.
In this set, the Phyrexians have the home field advantage. So what better time than now to celebrate Magic's most iconic villains with their very own special art treatment? Let's check in with the Booster Fund team for a closer look at the Phyrexians in all their slick, spine-chilling glory.
For one, worked with the team to develop all the booster fun and showcase treatments. We did a couple of full art basic lands.
Seen
Very
these.
kind of like
They look
traditional art in the most glorious way.
And we went slightly different direction with this set here, where we hired Mark Riddick, who's a pretty famous death metal artist, which fit the aesthetic of the Phyrexians. He worked in the mana symbols into his designs with some Phyrexian writing in them as well. They turned out really gorgeous.
The thing that we end up telling artists, I think, the most is don't make a Magic card. The artist has such a strong style and aesthetic that it's almost going to that artist is like, we want your version of these. On the story building and the world side, we have this substance, this glistening oil, this ichor that the Phyrexians use to spread their contagion that's just within their entire existence. And then there's this art style of inkwash painting, which inkwash art style is so expressive and it's so bold and simple, and it's about the essence of something and not about making a picture perfect image. It's about more the feeling of what you're trying to capture. We ask the artist to really focus on certain details really carefully. So part of the composition is these big giant splashes that are like brutal and violent. And then there are very deliberate areas, both with the negative and the black space, to like show a face, to show a claw, to show like a moment of something being ripped apart.
There's so much detail too. There isn't a foreground and a background. Your eye just keeps moving around all of his artwork.
When the main set art is so detailed and has like almost these Renaissance art roots to it and delves into that representation
9
of body
different
horror in
versions of
such a
LS.
like realistic fashion, then it gives us the chance to like pull way far away from that and get way more like expressive and figurative about it. And then what we end up with is like this set of these like very abstracty, splashy things, and then this set of like this incredible detail, and then both styles just, because of their contrast, heighten each other's beauty and efficacy. So Azuri is a Phyrexianized elf, talking about like things that are elvish are usually like
We've
green
seen this.
tones and lighter colors and like softer.
ETBs
So even
paid
just
3
taking
if
it
you
into
do
the
proliferate
monochrome
twice.
and
Pretty
having these
sweet.
big slashes
You
of black
proliferate, draw
within
a
the
card,
art
so you're
goes a really
drawing
long
2
way
cards.
to giving that emotional
If you're
feeling
playing
of
this for
horror
7.
and like brutality as opposed to like soft nature. The artist that worked on that has done a bunch of really beautiful inkwash art for us, and their style's a little bit softer, but it still functioned as a really strong piece of the set.
For Geth, we worked with
We've got
Flavio
all the
Giron.
We focused in a little bit
woms.
more on the face,
Randy?
I think, to get at that more natural element a little bit. Then there's the allowance for a lot of like brutality in the facial expression.
One of the coolest cards that we have, though, is the Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. I work closely with Kokodo, a Japanese art agency, to develop a list of really interesting horror manga artists. Junji Ito is one of the most popular, well-known manga artists in the world, and certainly in the horror manga category. So it was great to have his work in this set.
One of the really interesting things about bringing this manga series also into the card set is that traditionally is also in black and white. So we have already this monochrome ink wash style, and then we have another whole genre of art that is traditionally also monochrome, but the style is
Which one's
actually
your
very
favorite?
different, even though both have
like the
this
concept,
psychological
Praetor,
horror
gotta
and
be honest.
unsettling quiet to them.
We focused in on the characters, minimal background, but we made sure that they were, doing the things that Phyrexians do well. Lots of aggression, lots of violence.
Whereas the Icar style, the movement is in the brushstrokes. You're seeing the movement of the artist as opposed to maybe as much of like the really well executed and like visually described that's in the manga style. Also, these cards will be featured in our Step and Complete style, which is maybe more of a contrasting inspiration we had for this, where we thought about really old-fashioned brands and fashion houses because they had that same kind of like monolithic like power and vision, and that to us kind of like tapped into this Phyrexianization idea of this group of beings who want to like make everything in their own image. So that led us to this idea of this repeating pattern of the Phyrexian logo and symbol.
We also have a really cool treatment coming out in a separate bundle product called the Complete Edition. This product has all new art. We did a black on black style for this oil slick raised foil print treatment. To get to this spot, we had to commission the art in black and white. We needed to make sure that we had some movement as well, some texture.
We were able to produce what is a very simple idea into a beautiful, elegant, incredibly arresting magic card that if someone lays that across the table from you, that is a showstopper. Like the room is gonna shut down and people are gonna be like, what is that?
We also have Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, fully translated into Phyrexian.
Working on this has been so much fun because what isn't better than like evil elegance?
My favorite part is the manga cards, for sure. Junji Ito, of course.
For me, I am so psyched about those oil slick cards getting out into the world because they are some of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Look at all these.
That cool. Whew.
They are all so cool. I will be collecting all of them.
So the cards look scary, but what makes them feel scary once you've shuffled up for a match?
Here we go.
For more on that, let's hear from editor Matt Tabak for an All Will Be One mechanics breakdown.
And to kick things off for Phyrexia All Will Be One, what better mechanic to look at than Toxic? Toxic is a new ability found on Phyrexian creatures. If a creature with Toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player also gets some poison counters, specifically this number, the Toxic value. Paladin of Predation has Toxic 6, so if it hits your opponent, they get 6 poison counters. Why is this bad for them? A player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. But that's not all. Bad things start happening with even a few poison counters, particularly 3. And remember that combat damage is still dealt, and Paladin of Predation smashing for 6 is probably also not fun for them. But Toxic has no effect if the creature deals combat damage to a creature or a planeswalker. A creature's power and its Toxic value aren't necessarily connected. Even if Paladin of Predation had only dealt 1 combat damage to a player, the player it dealt damage to would still get 6 poison counters. So Toxic and combat abilities like Trample get very interesting.
It's a cool take
With Toxic, it's all about poisoning your opponent. 10 is great, that ends the game. But there are other benefits too. Even if you can get them to 3 poison counters, you're gonna turn on abilities called Corrupted. Corrupted abilities are all about an opponent having 3 or more poison counters. There are all kinds of corrupted abilities. The last ability of the Seed Core is an activated ability that requires a corrupted opponent to be activated, while Skrelv's Hive has a static ability that requires a corrupted ability to, well, do anything. There are instants and sorceries that get better if there's an opponent with 3 or more poison counters, and more. In multiplayer games, you only need one of your opponents to have 3 or more poison counters, not all of them. But all of them is better if you can manage that. Corrupted abilities are powerful, but don't forget the end game with most poison strategies. A player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. Phyrexia is a machine, and that machine needs fuel. And in this set, that fuel is oil counters. A lot of cards in this set put oil counters either on themselves or on other permanents, and you're gonna find all kinds of bonuses that care about oil counters. Just like Phyrexia, you can take advantage in any way possible. More of that strange oil. Oil counters appear all over Phyrexia All Will Be One. Some cards, like Urabrask's Forge, put oil counters on themselves, and use those counters to do all kinds of stuff. In the Forge's case, that's spit hot fire in the form of Phyrexian horrors, each one bigger than the last. Oil counters don't have any inherent meaning, so look at each card to see what effects the oil counters have. Some cards care about how many permanents with oil counters on them you control. Other cards move oil counters around, and things get out of hand very, very quickly. But it's probably nothing. And to help the oil spread, we are bringing back one of the most popular mechanics Magic has ever done, Proliferate. And it's not just oil counters. Any kind of counter that you happen to be playing with, Proliferate will help you spread the love. Proliferate is a returning keyword action that's all about counters. And not those counters, those counters. To proliferate, first choose any number of players or permanents that already have counters on them. Now for each of them, and for each kind of counter it has, add another one. Your opponent has 2 poison counters, they're getting a third. Your Elish Norn has a +1/+1 counter, make it 2. You don't have to choose every player or permanent with a counter. If your Elish Norn had a stun counter on it, you don't have to add another one. If Norn had a +1/+1 counter and a stun counter, you have a choice to make. Give her 1 more of each counter, or leave the good Praetor alone. Proliferate's back, and Phyrexia All Will Be One is packed with ways to capitalize. Spread the word. It's easy to look around Phyrexia All Will Be One and think that things are kind of bleak. But there is hope. If you're looking to resist Phyrexia, there is a mechanic for you. For Mirrodin. Mirrodin is a triggered ability found on equipment that come with their own wielder. When an equipment with Mirrodin enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 red rebel creature token. Then attach the equipment to it. For Blade of Shared Souls, that means you can take advantage of its other ability right away, and at no additional cost. From there, it's an equipment like any other. So you can use its equip ability as a sorcery to attach it to a different creature you control.
Hey,
if you're ready to fight back against
y'all do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't yet.
Show them what a real living weapon is for Mirrodin. Phyrexia All Will Be One brings back some old-time favorite mechanics and has a lot of new, innovative mechanics. Whether you've been playing Phyrexian decks for years or whether it's your very first time, there's something in the set for you. Make sure that your opponents and your play group and your friends, everyone you know, will be complete.
Now that we know what each side is bringing to the table, let's have a look at how the design team built tools like Corrupted and For Mirrodin for the All Will Be One commander decks.
When we start making the commander decks for the corresponding set, we're usually trying to look at that set flavorfully and mechanically and seeing what can we pick from there, what's going to be the most resonant kind of deck archetypes coming from there. For this set, Phyrexia All Will Be One, we have 1 deck based on the Phyrexians, the Corrupting Influence deck, and 1 deck based off of the Mirrans, the Rebellion Rising deck. For the Phyrexian deck, we have our commander Excel, which is a Phyrexian angel. The main purpose of this deck is to give kind of a definition to a Phyrexian commander deck in general. Phyrexians don't have a lot of identity base in commander, and so we thought focusing on the poison aspect with the new mechanics Toxic and Corrupted would be a great direction to go with Excel and the deck in general. When we're making a commander that wants to encompass more of the Phyrexians, we want to find a color identity that not just feels right for the Phyrexians, but has a very inclusive umbrella of other cards. So there's lots of green poison cards and white poison cards and Phyrexian cards that you can add to Excel's deck. From the very beginning of this set, we knew we wanted to try our hand at a poison deck. Not only was it very rich for the Phyrexians, but we were just really curious to see how we could make poison work and more fun for a broader audience. Poison is traditionally a divisive mechanic in Commander, but we thought using the Corrupt mechanic would be a really good way to bring the fun of poison, which is poisoning your opponents, without bringing more of the unfun components where maybe you're defeating your opponents too fast through poison. Excel is a little bit different. Using the Corrupt ability, you want to poison your opponents lightly as fast as you can. Once you have them poisoned, you're going to be drawing cards from their own decks.
Sort of
really
forging
being the villain of
frontier.
the story and getting a lot of card advantage through the game.
Come
Moseley
on!
is the head of the Mirrodin deck and a representative from the Rebellion side. This red-white commander wants you to be more aggressive using creature tokens. The commander itself gives your attacking creature tokens double strike, which is a great way to put on their aggression and pack a big punch. This card also provides a lot of card advantage for continuously attacking with your creature tokens. Red-white usually has this weakness of having a lot of cards to play in the game, but Moseley will really help you keep it up in the later turns. The Rebel creature type actually comes from an old set of Magic the Gathering. Rebels used to have a completely different identity, and here we're actually bringing them up in a whole new context. The 4 Mirrodin mechanic makes these 2/2 rebels. Those are creature tokens. Moseley loves creature tokens. Moseley is in the Rebellion. Let's make this deck about rebels. So we have those kind of spritzes of rebels all among the deck. The characters we put on the front of commander decks have a huge platform and a great way to display a lot of the themes of the stories and the characters we want to show off.
Oh, and here's the art of Fortune Frontier. Don't worry about
to
it.
figure out who's the best fit there and what is the best thematic fit for the decks. What's really interesting about Phyrexia and All Will Be One is it takes us to a completely different aesthetic world than we've ever seen before. We've seen Phyrexians here and there, and we've seen how creepy and macabre they can be, and now we have a world that is dominated by this creepy, macabre aesthetic, and it's a very different direction, and I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people who really loved what inklings we got of the Phyrexians in the past.
Switching back to the main set, Magic's play design team is responsible for taking all the different elements of a set and blending them into a cohesive gameplay experience. Let's join lead designer Andrew Brown to hear how the team brought the Phyrexians to life.
Yeah, David, you could search up
The first thing we always want to try and do is make sure that we capture the feel that we're trying to make the players feel like when they're playing the games. Phyrexia is a very popular place. You feel like you're there and you're immersed in this wild place of alien monsters and dripping claws of poison. Yeah, that's our initial goal, is just to make sure that you feel there and you're immersed within this world of, crazy Phyrexia. Who's king of the mites? That's where the idea of Skrelv was born. Skrelv is the only legendary mite creature that we have. So mites are a new token type where they are 1/1s with Toxic 1, but they can't block.
Who's gonna build
it was a funny quest to make King
Skrelv
of the smallest
as a commander
things.
deck?
And what does that do? I guess it protects all of its subjects. Another thing we wanted to accomplish with mites was the feeling of you're being overwhelmed. Normally when we have zombie tokens, they'll enter tapped or something, but with mites, we wanted to go with something different. Since they can't block, you can't really use them to defend yourself, so it's all about growing the swarm to eventually overrun your opponents. Glissa was one of my favorite cards as a teenager. When I first opened it in a pack, I saw that it had First Strike and Death Touch. And then I asked, so what happens when someone blocks this? And they're like, oh, it automatically dies because of First Strike and Death Touch. And at the time, that was one of the most ridiculous things I'd ever heard. When we were given the task of, oh, hey, you have to redesign a new Glissa for Phyrexia, like instantly my head was like, okay, we have to put First Strike and Death Touch on this card just to keep that feel of I'm going to defeat you in combat no matter what. And hopefully somebody down the line can have that exact feeling that I had opening it and just being like, this is ridiculous, I love this. Melira was an interesting problem because previously all of Melira's cards are anti-poison. In the story, she's one of the only people from Mirrodin to be totally immune to the Phyrexian invasion/infection. Melira is still protected from all of these evil forces, and especially the toxic and the glistening oils. She can save stuff, she stops you from being poisoned as fast. So we want to capture the feel of a character that's immune, but also willing to sacrifice herself for the greater good. Mondrak was a lot of fun to come up with because the creative department told us that we needed 5
One or more tokens would be created under your control twice
it's
of that many of those
very
tokens
cool concept, but also a daunting task at the same time. Normally in Magic, we associate god creatures with some way to come back or some way to reanimate themselves, which looks awesome, but has a lot of gameplay issues because you don't want to play against the same card a bunch of the time. I was really happy with the solution we found where you pay a ton of resources and also life to eventually make them indestructible, merging the gameplay of regular gods, which is I come back, it's hard to kill me, and Phyrexians,
that can become indestructible.
I'm going to win at any cost. I'll sacrifice any number of things just to make myself more powerful. Designing the Phyrexian planeswalkers was a pretty big challenge. It took us a long time to vet out what does it mean
That
to be a
card's good.
Phyrexian planeswalker. We tried so many different things. We tried activating life instead of loyalty, and they're definitely more powerful because they've added this Phyrexian element to themselves, but it does come at a cost to their own power. With the completed mechanic, if you do spend that extra life to cast the planeswalker, it's going to come in with less loyalty.
Let's see Jace. Yeah.
A lot of previous Jace cards, you know, would take instants and sorceries from your graveyard and let you play them again, reusing stuff, relearning stuff. This Jace is very different. All this one cares about is the quantity of cards in graveyard. All he wants to do is make someone lose their deck as fast as possible, whether it be you or your opponent. Because with the minus, you really want to get those 20 cards in your graveyard so you can really get that draw card to the bonus of draw 3 cards. I'm definitely most excited about all 5 Phyrexian Planeswalkers. Earlier in the years, we've been teasing them out with Tamio, now Ajani, and now we have all 5 of them released, and it's going to be really awesome to see how all the fans react. Generally, we want to make sure that people feel the entire range of emotions. So, unfortunately, Jace, you are now Phyrexian, so they'll just have to live with that.
Whether you're planning to embrace Phyrexian perfection or stand firm against the spread of corruption, we hope you've enjoyed this look into Phyrexia. All will be one. You'll be able to join the fight at pre-releases, on Arena and Magic Online, and in stores starting February 10th. And be sure to check out Commander parties being held on March 10th. Now to close things out, we've got one last treat for you. The premiere of the official cinematic for All Will Be One.
Oh shit, here you go, cinematic lovers. Hey, hit that like button.
Pain is the sign of your imperfection. The flaw at the center of all that you are. But your suffering is at an end. We offer you freedom from flesh. Your realms are diseased, and we are the only cure. You can either kneel before this throne or become a part of it. All will be one.
Oh God, we're screwed. We're all screwed. Holy crap. Okay. So, that was pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. That was... We've seen this. This is that first look. This is old. Wow. Okay, so we got to see... Jace. That's pretty good. You know, honestly, Jace was sort of lackluster. 3-mana walker comes in with with 3 loyalty, or a 4-mana walker that comes in with 5. Until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gets -3, -0. Fine. -2, mills 3 cards. If graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, draw 3. Otherwise, draw a card. I like that it says target player. This could be useful in a self-mill build. There's not a ton of... There's not a ton of really good self-mill options that are repeatable. There's like individual cards, you know? But having a sort of... Right, exactly, Matthias. That's what I'm saying. I think that for Reanimator, this will be a good card. In general, this is fairly lackluster. This isn't really the mythic that you want to pull. You know? We have seen Urbrask's Forge before, but I did like this card. 3 mana, beginning of combat, put an oil counter on it. So you're getting a 1/1 trample haster the turn it comes out. And then you get a 2/1 the next time, a 3/1, a 4/1, a 5/1. The inevitability of this is pretty brutal. Yeah, Hamster, I'm gonna agree with you on this one. It can't be too long before, here we go. I knew it couldn't be too long before we saw this. Yo, this is insane. If one or more tokens will be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. And then for 1 mana and 4 life, you can sack 2 other artifacts or creatures, and that's like treasure tokens, creature tokens. Put an indestructible counter on it. That's really good. This card is really good. This will be one of the mythics that people chase after. What I want to do, let's go back. We already watched this, but what we can do, let's do a little detective work. Where is the commander? Here we go. Okay, so 1946.
You want to poison your opponents lightly as fast as you can.
Ah, I'm trying.
One.
Damn it. No, I don't think we're going to be able to see it right now. It's definitely an artifact equipment.
Using the corrupt ability, you want to poison your opponents.
It just doesn't flip over until it's already off the screen. Yeah. Yeah, this was a tease, but you can see down here, we'll turn the captions off. Sort of Forge and Frontier. Getting the red-green one here. I tried, y'all. I tried to see what the damn sword was. But this is probably the card that is the most impressive, at least from the preview today. Now what's going to happen is a lot of times once that video starts, we're just getting... Oh yeah, we got to look at this image. This was insane. A lot of times once the video finishes, we start getting cards every day, all day. Crimson, it'll be interesting. I mean, they did imply that the sword is in the precons. That would be a pretty crazy way to print an absolutely iconic version. Oh, sorry, y'all. It would be easier to just straight up buy Matt, but it'll affect the like overall price of it, the long-term price of it, right? If that's the only place we can get that card until a reprint. Red, green. Yeah, Tuxel, it didn't fit into the commander color identity, but the swords don't have color identity. They just sort of have color suggestion. Full art and satin collector. Oh yeah, they would be in the satin collector boosters in the commander slot, right? I hope you like a Lush Norns for sure. Does anybody want a copy of a Lush Norn Mother of Machines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this doesn't, I mean, these all have foils as well. So Elesh Norn causes permanents to trigger a second time. Mondrak causes twice that many tokens to be created. Do you think that this is that Mondrak's mouth? What do you think that is? We'll move on. We had seen this, but y'all, you're gonna have to run this in limited if you pull it. Just FYI.
First look at Phyrexia. All will be one.
Yeah, every Praetor's got a Dominus. Yeah, we've got a secondary legend of the Phyrexian Praetors for sure. They're spoiling new cards. Go back to stream. Okay. Wow, they really did go live. Anybody excited about Quantumania? I got my tickets today. We're gonna go see it that Sunday. All right, we're not watching Marvel trailers, y'all. This is just an ad on the Twitch.
February 17th. Get tickets now.
Not sure.
Let's check out another creature with Toxic that also has a promo version. So this is Annex Sentry. 2 and a white. It's got that store champion.
I've never seen them go live right after a debut video like this, so sorry we didn't just jump over to this.
Exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Annex Sentry leaves the battlefield. This card seems pretty spicy.
Yeah, this is just our classic take on the Banisher Priest, where
so we got more info. Everybody hit that like button for more previews. Let's wake the stream back up. Tell YouTube, tell everybody on YouTube we got further stuff to look at.
Yeah,
sticks around. All right.
Yeah, Douglas, I guess they did it
at the bundle promo
on purpose, not show much in the video so they could go live right after.
Harmonix, I think I'm pronouncing that right. The Rat King. So, 3/3 for a legendary creature, Phyrexian Rat, 1 black and a black. It has Toxic 1. It gives all other rats you control Toxic 1 as well. And when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. And it has the 4 different versions you see here. All right, what's going on with Harmonix?
So for a while, every time we would look at the most popular rat commanders, you know, you got
Mirrodin.
Yeah, Mirrodin, right? So that's a fine card. I don't think it's the most fun card to play against. Yeah, you know, but we really wanted to.
This man just came on the stream and called an MTG card not fun.
Commander, and also, you know, Phyrexia, Evil Rats, of course.
261 likes.
So,
can we get to 269 likes?
Not infect.
If we can get to 369,
so
we got 369, and that's pretty fine.
For your classic rat commander,
269 is the first goal.
Deck. Maybe they're all named Rat Colony. Who knows?
Could be. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe there's a thrumming stone involved. All right. Next up, our next and I think last card with Toxic, maybe not, we'll see.
Okay.
There's Toxic throwing out a bunch of things, so we'll see. But this is Venerated Rotbeast, and as a control player, this card scares me. It is a green for a 1 and a 2, for a 1/2 Phyrexian Druid, Toxic 1, not a big deal so far.
This is a good one drop.
Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. So first question, why?
GH, we haven't seen Atraxa yet, no.
The main reason is, you know, we were looking at, I look at the modern metagame a lot and kind of like predict things that may happen in the future. And at this time when we were making the set, you know, the Infect deck was kind of on the decline. It wasn't showing as much in tournaments as we wanted. So this is definitely a little love letter to that deck because you definitely want as many 1-mana creatures with some way to poison your opponent as much as possible. And why not this one?
Okay, so this is actually aimed at Modern then.
You could say that.
You could say that.
You could say that, yeah.
Just as long as it stays away from me. That's all I want.
Well, what's Glistener Elf's worst friend? Lightning Bolt.
True. But I mean, even then, they still get a poison counter.
That's true.
I don't know, man. That card's going to kill me. That card's going to kill me a lot. All right, so we talked earlier about how Proliferate had both Toxic and Oil to work with. So let's, first of all, talk a little bit about what Oil does and is in the set.
Right, so Oil is a type of counter that goes on a permanent you control. And what it can do is different based on each individual card you have. Some cards use Oil counters, some cards have power and toughness equal to Oil counters, and we even have some spells that actually just add poison Oil counters onto creatures.
Okay, so it's kind of an all-purpose, just Phyrexianization spreading.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Well, let's take a look at a couple of these. So appropriately, we have Norn's Wellspring. So this is Elish Norn's very own Wellspring. So 1 and a white for an artifact. Whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an Oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. 1, tap, remove 2 Oil counters from Norn's Wellspring, draw a card. So white card draw here.
Yeah, definitely. With as of late, we've been exploring more with what does white card draw exactly mean. And I think the thing we've really settled on is, kind of that once per turn, I can get up an extra card thing. So with here, you have to tap your
a creature. It does not say non-token creature, chat.
But yeah,
whenever
this is
a creature you control dies, you scry 1, put an Oil counter on it.
Cards that accrue Oil counters that also spend Oil counters.
Absolutely going into my black-white Aristocrats deck.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, cool. Our next one is
maybe. I've got such good access to card draw in black. I actually don't know if I need it.
1 to blue for a 2/1
maybe green-white? No, that's not. Yeah,
Mercurial Spelldancer can't be blocked. When you cast a non-creature spell, put an Oil counter on Mercurial Spelldancer. And whenever Mercurial Spelldancer, whenever Mercurial Spelldancer deals combat damage, that's a tongue twister a bit, to a player, you may remove 2 Oil counters from it. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new target. So this is a very different, like from the last card we saw, this is a very different implication.
Thank you for that subscription.
Nick
Baker with the $25 super chat. Show Atraxa already. What's up, Joel? Nick, what's up? Thank you for that $25 super chat. Me and Jake super appreciate it, bro. I'm very ready to see Atraxa. I'm hoping that, we're going to sit here through this. At this point, this is kind of new territory. Normally, they don't have a live stream right after a debut video like this.
Attack and cast cards from your graveyard.
Yes. So I'm really hoping that
I play with that card all the time.
We get to see some cool
somebody in
mythics.
Chat will get us on.
Like Randy said, we've already seen a lot of the rares.
But yeah, it's definitely a riff on that card. So
Dreadhorde.
We just haven't seen a lot of the mythics.
I told you chat would be on it.
Yeah, John, they showed the new foiling.
We got some. They'll help us out. We just got to ask chat. Thanks, chat.
Nick, thank you again for that $25 super chat.
Combination between those two. Continue.
Right. Yeah.
If you're hanging out, hit that like button. We got to wake this stream back up. We got some cards to look at, hopefully.
Cast spells to add counters, and then eventually you spend those counters for whatever spell you want extra in the future.
I don't think Atraxa is going to become a Praetor Tuxel unless...
It also can't be blocked.
Atraxa is like a servant. Atraxa is a very dedicated servant.
All right, another Oil counter. This one, again, a little bit different here. Archfiend of the Dross.
Oh, so we've seen this one, but this is one of my favorite ones with the Oil counter mechanics.
Creature Phyrexian Demon, and so this is one of those huge flying drawback.
Yeah, Corey, right.
Yep.
When it enters the battlefield,
Atraxa is a living weapon.
It enters the battlefield with 4 Oil counters on it. Good so far. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an Oil counter from Archfiend of the Dross. Okay. Then if it has no Oil counters on it, you lose the game.
Yep.
Okay. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its controller loses 2 life. So, yeah, that's a steep cost.
Yeah, very big, very overstated, strong ability with, whenever one of their creatures dies, they lose 2 life. But obviously it comes at a great cost, which is, you just lose.
Yeah. So you either need to kill your opponent or find a way to proliferate.
Correct, yes. So you can proliferate, you can add Oil counters to this.
Resurrect
you
it.
can maybe donate this to your opponent somehow.
Sure.
Once
Right,
if you're
Andres,
getting
that's
low.
what I'm saying.
Or you might just point your own removal spell on this and say, you know, I'm out of time. Sorry, you got to go.
Fair enough. So there are some ways around it, as scary as that lose the game text sounds.
Blink it.
All right.
That's right.
Our last oil counter card
Black, white,
is
Archfiend
Vindictive
Ephemerate.
Flamestoker. So this is a single red mana for a 1/2 Phyrexian Wizard. When you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Vindictive Flamestoker, and then 6 in a red, sacrifice Vindictive Flamestoker, discard your hand, then draw 4 cards. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each oil counter on Vindictive Flamestoker. All right, where'd this card come from?
Yeah, so we were thinking of more ways to support blue and red oil spells. That's kind of the theme that you want to be going for in limited with blue and red. So we wanted to figure out another way to kind of add oil counters to a card and then spend them somehow.
Oh yeah, for sure, a storm card.
So with a lot of other cards, you're kind of like spending them,
refill your
accruing them,
hand that
spending
you've
them,
emptied
accruing
because you've
one,
cast everything.
accruing the counters. With the Flamestoker here, you're just kind of sacrificing it, going to the next thing. One of the more interesting things about this card is we rarely do discard your hand, draw 4. We normally do discard your hand, draw 3. Because the cost here was so high, we were like, what's one more card?
What's the worst that could happen? You say to a Phyrexian.
That's true.
Yeah. So I did see a question in chat. We haven't shown anything like this, but are there any, besides proliferate and the natural oil counters that cards come with, are there any ways in the set to just add oil?
This was one of my big questions.
Yes, there are instants and sorceries, there are artifacts, there may be even a land that could add oil counters to things. So there's lots of different ways in the set to add oil counters.
All right, so there you go. Oil cards are going to be legit.
Fill, let's just say that.
And oil counters, do you expect to see those in limited and constructed? Or are they more focused on limited? What do you think?
Definitely, hopefully a combo, and you know, it's always hard to be 100% confident, but yeah, we've definitely situated a lot of cards that I think could see in a lot of different.
It's hard for the designer to be confident if the mechanic's going to be in standard or not.
All right, the last mechanic that we're going to specifically talk about, although we did mention that Corrupted is one we'll touch on a little bit later as well. Bladehold War Whip is our card with 4 Mirrodin on it.
What's the mechanic?
Did I not shout it?
For Mirrodin!
There you go. There it is.
You got to do that every time.
There we go.
That's as much
See, they
excitement
know.
as the chat has
You
ever
gotta
heard from
say
me.
it every time.
But it is very exciting because this is kind of a riff on, and I'll read the card in a second. This is kind of a riff on Living Weapon.
Living Weapon, right.
But those creatures were 0/0s.
0/0s.
Couldn't survive without the equipment. These are 2/2s. So let me read the card and then
Other
we'll talk
equipment
about it.
costs 1 less to activate. Jesus,
1
equip
red
a
and a white
5?
artifact equipment with for Mirrodin. You're welcome.
There you go.
That may be the last time I do that.
For
We'll see.
Mirrodin!
Equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less to activate, and equipped creature has double strike, and the equipped cost is 3 red and a white. Okay, so first of all, tell us about this mechanic.
Yeah, so I really like this mechanic in terms of matching kind of the story and the dichotomy between Living Weapon and for Mirrodin. So
Mirrodin
obviously
is like,
we're on Phyrexia,
Mirrodin is like
and you know
done.
they had Living Weapon in the
Mirrodin
past.
is gone.
The Mirrodin survivors.
We talking about
they've
for
been here.
Mirrodin.
They're kind of learning from the Phyrexians. So I think that's a really cool kind of like yin and yang of what happens when you know the good guys.
Yeah,
learn
boy, you
from
gonna do
the
it.
bad
This
guys.
does seem like a
And then how about this card
pretty good
specifically? This has got a lot of
limited card.
interesting things
3
going on.
mana,
Yeah, so
2/2
in
double
limited,
strike, and
the
it
red
leaves
and white
behind
color
a
pair is gonna
really
be
expensive equip
equipment-based,
to give
which
something
works
else
really
double
well with
strike.
for
But
Mirrodin because
you know,
get
put it
to
on your
add
flyer,
these
your
equipment to
2/2
your
flyer.
deck while also not having
After
to
the
spend
rebel
creature slots
dies.
on them. So it's a good way to mix
Not
to make
terrible.
sure that people can have enough creatures in their deck.
It is
while
in the
also
free equip
having
colors. That's
equipment.
true. That's true.
Sure. All right. Okay, so that is our last in the kind of mechanics section. We are going to move on to some more previews. Before we do that, just a really quick note. So today is the start of previews, and you're going to start seeing a bunch of preview cards out into the wild. And as some people have noticed, there were some less than stellar images of cards out there. And so we discovered an issue in our process that led to some lower quality images being released. And so we have fixed that for English. You may still see some of that in other languages, but we're going to get, so we've got some crisp,
all right, so this is kind of funny.
English out there. And we'll be
Blake is talking directly to me and Jake. Blake is talking directly to the content creators that have been complaining so much about all of the card images that come out during previews, looking like screenshots of screenshots. So that's nice that they're putting high-res cards out there so that we can actually make decent-looking videos and shorts.
The same
instead
is true
of
for permanent spells you control,
the most
and non-land permanents you control.
Potato quality preview cards
on the battlefield
that ever come out.
What nonsense are you pulling off here, Andrew?
Hey, that's chat.
Well, it's not
that's Jake in chat. Everybody wave at Jake.
It's really a
Jake, hello, good morning. Jake just said this, bro. Everybody wave at Jake.
Cards from
yeah, Jake, you're absolutely right. The Scryfall images have looked like absolute garbage for the last year and a half. For a while too. Dude, go and look at Scryfall Streets of New Capenna. The cards still look like shit because we haven't gotten a good high-res scan of the cards yet. And Scryfall is not associated with Wizards. They don't get any money. They're over there doing everything the best they possibly can. Everybody hit like button. Hit that like button for Jake.
Yeah. That seems
there you go, D-Hammer. Everybody tell Jake happy birthday to Annie so he can pass along the happy birthday wishes to Annie. That's why Jake isn't here with us this morning.
Right, yeah. It's important that when you have this card in play, it doesn't
seriously. There is no way to pull good-looking images of the Streets of New Capenna cards because they all look like potatoes.
Those just aren't that fun. So
yeah, chat was already on the mic.
Jake, what they've done this time around is they had the big debut video that lasted what, chat, like 30-40 minutes, and now they've gone directly into a weekly MTG live stream to kind of follow it, which is new. So we've got even more stuff to look at.
Conduit of World is 2 green. You may play it's an artifact.
Fireball.
You may play lands from your graveyard.
The last year.
But then you can tap it to choose
here you go, Jake. For Mirrodin! There you go, Jake. I was asked to give you a
If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast the card.
You gotta yell it.
If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. All right, a lot of clauses here. What's going on?
Yeah, so a lot of clauses indeed. Yeah, so we wanted to kind of really embrace the feel of what would only playing from your graveyard feel like in a game. In the past we've had cards like
Mirrodin, I hardly know her.
And the game on the
that one
spot.
didn't work.
Yeah, you just do all the things.
You made me read that.
Yeah. So we tried to come up with a version that really just kind of felt like I'm only playing from my graveyard.
What's up, BBG?
Maybe my hand sometimes. So you can play, like it says, you can play non-land permanents from your graveyard. You can also play lands. So you really just get to make your graveyard that toolbox where you can pick and choose everything that you want.
No, Stefan, it is important to note, if you haven't cast a spell this turn, you can cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. If that card gets removed afterward, or if it's just a spell.
The booster fun versions have some of my favorite art
sorcery
in the set
instant
here for this next card.
It just goes right back to your graveyard.
Unstoppable.
It does not exile.
So 8 mana.
So you can
a hefty find there,
recast it over and over
7/5.
again.
Juggernauts
it does not exile
each combat if able.
Very important to
By the
know.
way, it is a
looks like kind of a slow card, but not exiling it is way more huge than people are going to give it credit for.
Walls can't block Juggernauts.
Of course not.
Look at that little face in there.
Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are Juggernauts in addition to their other creature types. And then I'm a huge fan of the Borderless Manga art there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's already a really fun, cool, flavorful card. But
other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are Juggernauts in addition.
There's only one thing going on with this legendary Juggernaut.
It's Juggernauts.
It's Juggernauts, yeah. So Juggernaut, definitely an iconic old card.
I'm curious.
Kind of maybe past its prime a bit, but I guess we were trying to answer the one question.
In colorless, can we give this thing trample?
Does everything
Got to be on
Juggernaut
equipment, right?
the question we've all been asking.
Yeah. I've fallen asleep many nights thinking this. But you know, here it is, real life.
Yeah, Seth, with that cast things from the graveyard card, a time warp lock, I mean, that's not impossible. I haven't played it out in my mind to get to that point, but if you can get ahead on board with an attacker,
how do you
just cast the...
They just go. They just
cast the take an extra turn over and over again.
I think we're assuming that this
it's a good
works
thought.
for the good
Brutal
guys.
thought.
Maybe.
Not sure.
I don't actually know.
There's some tentacles there.
Yeah, someone on the lore team would know. We can talk about this with them later. All right. Next up, a card that is going to look familiar. So, Phyrexian Arena. We did see this one a little bit earlier.
Oh, it does say permanent?
But just wanted to highlight that again. This is in the bundle. And I wanted to ask you, this is an
old
favorite.
Sorcery Chat.
It's been powerful in standard at times. What was the impetus for bringing this card back besides the very obvious flavor?
Well, there's a list of cards that we always want to try again.
Choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. Good note.
Kind of be next on the list.
New
and
cards.
Also, like you said, it makes a ton of sense in this setting. And
I like that Phyrexian text, Phyrexian Arena.
We felt like this was a great opportunity for, getting that player who has played in the past a long time, and they come back to one of their favorite planes and they see one of their favorite old cards, and I think it works out great here. And also, just look at that Phyrexian language here.
The
Phyrexian Arena is like almost a $10 card, y'all. It's going to get nuked from this set, at least in the short term. So,
too, because the original Phyrexian Arena showed Gerard and Urza fighting in a Phyrexian Arena, obviously. And this is, again, two closely entwined former allies having to fight each other over Forexia as Vraska and Jace continue their little dance. And that flavor text.
A moment was all Vraska needed.
Love the flavor text.
Yeah.
Hail Hydra, she whispered.
All right. Anyway, we got to move on from that because I'm
classic Jace
believing
believing he can do things.
Yeah, Jace. Oh, Jace. All right. Next up,
we already knew Jace liked tentacle
girls.
girls.
I feel like one of the times you've been on this show before, we also had you on to reveal an upgraded edict. It was like, I don't remember why that memory is in my head. Maybe I've completely fabricated
Lord
it.
Ethan, good to see you.
Except for the part about we keep releasing better edicts.
That's true.
So, we have a better edict. This next edict is Sheoldred's Edict, and apparently she's really good at this because for 1 and a black, you get an instant, and it says choose one. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token, or each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker, and then it's got that lovely flavor text. Congratulations, I am entertained.
That is definitely one of my favorite flavor texts in the entire set.
Yeah.
Love it.
Sax a non-token creature is very
it was pretty good
relevant.
Already when it lets you differentiate between
Pansel,
non-token and token.
good. How are you, sir?
Good
to see you.
Of edicts.
That's true.
But then you
sacrifices a non-token creature is
each opponent. Yeah, a planeswalker.
Pretty sweet,
so,
pretty relevant.
You're just stacking things on top. What's going on here, Andrew?
Yeah. Well,
Jake, you would like the 4-mana Jace. You're a mill boy.
Edicts is always tokens. So
it's a good mill card.
We wanted to kind of shore up
that. It's a good self-mill card. It's a good mill card. I think that people were mostly disappointed by the new Jace because all of the other walkers seemed so pushed. We're gonna come back to this chat. I just want to pull this up while we're talking about it. Jace, a perfected mind. I think that people weren't quite as impressed by this one as they were with all the others because all the others are very impressive, and mill is sort of a subversive strategy, and so they can't make it too strong. They can create a bunch of creatures and give them all trample and a bunch of power strong because that is relevant and a big part of Magic. There's a lot of stuff to interact with that kind of stuff. There's not a lot of stuff to interact with mill as a strategy, so if they wanted to go the mill route with this Jace, they had to power it down, or not power it down, but not power it up as much of the others. But I do think that this will be played in mill decks. Will it put mill decks over the top? I doubt it.
Planeswalkers, I think we might start seeing this in Commander. I'll probably try. I'm probably gonna try Canadian Highlander. I keep, you know.
I can tell that we.
That's my take on that.
You like it when you start muttering to
Jace.
yourself and you start.
I start writing things down. I'm like,
exactly.
Well, I mean, I have played in Canadian Highlander, which is a pretty high-powered format.
That is Jake's react. Every time a new good mill card comes out, Jake is like, "Now my life is complete.
Yeah,
Mill will suddenly be a strategy that can win."
One-on-one, but
probably not.
It does something similar. Makes them sacrifice a planeswalker, but that one's a sorcery. It's black and a red, so. Yeah, powerful card.
Witchbane Orb just entered chat, Jake.
All right, let's check out another card with a promo version. This is Ossification. Ossification
Enchant a
is
basic
1 and a white
land.
for an enchantment aura. Enchant basic land you control. When Ossification enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Ossification leaves the battlefield. So just planeswalkers for 2 mana.
It's Journey to Nowhere.
Gonzo.
Gone. Okay.
It's Journey to Nowhere,
yeah, so
but
I'm really excited for Ossification. This is definitely a rate.
It's Journey to Nowhere, but enchant basic land you control.
Previously, we gave you Journey to Nowhere a fair while back, but which is 1 and a white for anything, but. With the basic land restriction, we felt like we could give you the upgrade of adding Planeswalker as well. So Ossification, I'm very excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, initially when I saw this card, I was like, oh, why
making it an aura is relevant for a lot of commanders. Will Thrill, W Thrill, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Having aura on this
take a little bit, give a little bit,
is pretty relevant to a lot of commanders.
If the land were to go away, but basic lands can be hard to kill these days.
Right. Field of Ruin.
Yeah, it is kind of similar to Chain to the Rocks.
Does not. All right. Ossification has that promo version there as well. All right. Our last promo.
Yeah, that's not irrelevant to Aura decks.
Is going to be one of the cycle that we've seen a bit of so far. We've got Green Sun's Twilight, which also happens to be the Buy a Box promo. So Buy a Box promo, for those who don't know, is if you purchase a box at a participating local game store, you can get the Buy a Box promo while supplies last. So Green Sun's Twilight, X and a green for a sorcery. Reveal the top X+1 cards of your library. Choose a creature card and or a land card from among them. Put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is 5 or more, instead put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand.
Brendan, thank you for subscribing.
And the rest on the bottom of your library in
Jake,
a random
catch you later.
order.
Everybody wave bye to
tell
Jake.
us about Green Sun's Twilight.
Yeah, so definitely very iconic name with the Green Sun Zenith from the original Mirrodin block or original Phyrexia block, depends on how you look at it. So with this cycle, there is always a flat X, and then it upgrades once you hit that 5 or more threshold.
You want to cast
so
this
these
for
cards
6,
are really
right?
modal,
You
they're
have
really
to cast
flexible.
this for 6.
The key thing to keep in mind here is that it says all of the creatures and lands from among them here. So if you pay 4 mana, you look at all top 4 cards, you'll get all of the creatures and lands. Not normally like we do where it's just one creature.
I think you're misreading this. It says choose a creature card.
A creature or a land.
You were, to be fair to Andrew, he was talking to me about this card was changed a little bit late in design, correct?
That's true.
Hang on.
I can't believe I just did that. It's okay.
Is that how it was changed late in design?
This designer
couldn't tell you. How would you have any clues to that?
I mean, you could figure it out, but not live on stream. We couldn't figure it out.
That's true.
It is still strong. It's not all the creatures.
Not all of them.
No. But you hit that 5 threshold
and or land.
And or land. So that's how you can get multiple cards.
That's
designer
That's what I meant to say the whole time.
showing off.
That's where he was going with that. But yeah, so I do notice here
cards,
that the X has nothing to do with the casting
previous
cost.
design.
So if you play 5, if you hit an Ulamar.
Now hang on, if this card said choose all creatures and lands from among them and put them into your hands, suddenly this is a pretty good card.
Okay, cool. So now talk to me a little bit
about
general,
this card is decent.
Twilight cycle as a whole.
It's because it digs down from the top.
But,
it's tough.
Kind of the thought
you got to arrange your deck.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, it's definitely a riff on the old.
D-hammer a card that cares about X spells. Yeah, this is a good card.
Which tutored a creature into play.
Yep.
Green Sun.
Looks like a Traxxas was spoiled somewhere. It's on Mythic
version,
Spoiler.
Right.
Yep.
So it was.
Pull it up.
It was part of our goal here was also to ensure that you wanted to cast the bigger version. Like, you know, when most people play Green Sun Zenith, it's Dryad Arbor or something, right? It's something cheesy. So we really wanted to invoke if you even look at the art here, giant thing coming for you. So
I'm looking at Atraxa.
Hopefully we can get that across with the Twilights, where you'll invest a lot of mana in them and get that huge effect.
Makes sense.
All right, let's see.
Right.
Hang on, what the next card
covers
is.
It for
if it's a good time to pause.
Main set previews. We do now have 5 Jumpstart cards we want to show off. We're not going to spend a ton of time talking about these. They are.
I want to come back. I want to make sure that we're here for Phyrexian Secret Layers. I want to see what we got here.
On the power end.
Yeah, they're definitely for lower power games. You know, if you happen to draw one in Jumpstart, you're going to be looking good.
They're meant to be strong there. So let's look at the 5 Jumpstart cards. So these are the 5 that are new. The only 5 that are new in any of the Jumpstart packets. So let's start with Goliath Hatchery. And this is actually where we're going to talk
6
about
mana
Corrupted.
enchantment. ETBs create 2/3/3s with toxic ones. The beginning of your upkeep, and if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, choose a creature you control, then draw cards equal to its total toxic value.
Goliath Hatchery enters.
Okay, let's look at Atraxa. All right, chat. Can everybody read this? There we go, right there. Yep. Black, blue, white, green, 3, 7 mana. Woof. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, 7/7. When it ETBs, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put 1 card of that type into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. The card types are artifacts, battle, creature, enchantment, instant, land, planeswalker, sorcery. This is not the Atraxa that we wanted, chat. This is not as good as I thought they would make it. But I will say this. This is kind of reminiscent. What was that card from? It was Niv Mizzet, I believe, but 5 color. Tell me what the name of it is. And when it ETBs, you got to pick a card of each like color pair. Yes, Malik, thank you. Atraxa by way of Niv Mizzet Reborn. Thank you, Mr. Buzzfuzz, you too. All right, so Niv Mizzet Reborn has been played, y'all. Niv Mizzet Reborn has been a played card, and this is 1 fewer color. It's 2 more mana total than Reborn, but Niv Mizzet just being like a hand refiller was played. Fail Out Gaming says battle is mistranslated. The card type is tribal. I thought the word tribal was canceled. It's a card type, it's not canceled. Okay, so the card types are artifact, tribal, creature, enchantment, instant, land, planeswalker, sorcery. Spanish speakers. I saw it in Spanish and clearly it is battle. Let's see what we're looking at here. Might Overseer, first strike as long as it's your turn. Creature tokens you control get... Hey, that's relevant. As long as it's your turn, creature tokens you control get +1/+0 and have first strike. That's not irrelevant to a creature token deck. Oh, Nathaniel Muka, that is a really good point. You can't bring Atraxa to light. And Niv Mizzet was getting cheated in. Okay, Sebastian says Spanish speaker here can confirm batalla equals battle, but no idea if image is legit. What is tribal in Spanish, Sebastian? Kale, it is relevant that Atraxa is in white. Tribal equals tribal. Okay, so that's just tribal in Spanish is tribal. So you would assume Artefacto, Batalla. Is it supposed to be Batalla? Batalla. Criatura. Encantamiento. Try my best. Instanta. I can't really read that. Tierra. That's land, right? Planeswalker. Y Conjuro. Son tipos de carta. I wonder if they're going to show us what battle cards are. Hey, look, here's a legendary goblin. Trample, haste. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than it attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to Rook. Bobby Z, you still watching? There you go. This is pretty sweet in equipment decks. Serum Sovereign, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it, pay 1, draw, remove an oil counter, draw a card, scry 2. This is in the Jumpstart cards? Wow. Yeah, Fail Out Gaming, that's what makes me unsure about it, because we had a whole video. Why would they keep a whole card type secret? After the video... Why would they keep a whole new card type secret after a video that revealed literally all of the mechanics? This is strange. This is strange. I don't know about this, y'all. 196 out of 271. Let me do a little digging here. Set 1, number 196. We don't have it. We can sort these by set number. 196. I mean, the color, the set numbers line up with the gold cards. I will say that. BuzzFuzz says, I'm pretty sure they've done that before to hint at something in a future set. So they've had cards before that were like, yeah, I'm watching out for the secret layer, Matt. Here we go. We're going to turn this back up for now.
Helps me if you tag @magic while you're doing so, and I will see it. I will be better able to see it. So let's do the secret layers, then let's go on to Q&A. All right, so
Future
secret
site.
layers. We've got 3 that we're showing off here. So the first 2 drops are part of the Winter Super Drop in 2023. These are available January 30th at 9 a.m. Pacific to March 26th.
Here come the secret layers.
11:59 p.m. Pacific.
New secret layer alert.
We're going to start with
Mirrodin.
Showcase All Will Be One. So we have Phyrexian Unlife, Phyrexian Crusader, Plague Engineer, Airtie the Corrupted, and Glissa the Traitor, all with that special Icker Slick art style there. Really
Phyrexian Unlife's like a $3
really
card.
So this is available.
Crusader is like a $13, $14 card.
Process. So that step and complete foiling process.
Plague Engineer is like a $1 card.
In the foiling. All over the card. That is what this comes in.
Airtie Corrupted is like $1 to $5.
That's the only one that is available. So that
Glissa Trader is like a $3 to $5 card.
These 5 Phyrexianized cards.
Crusader's the money hit here.
The other
at like $13
is called Phyrexian Faves, and this is the one Andrew was oohing and eyeing over because this is these are Phyrexian language
all
versions
new Phyrexian language versions.
Very well-known Phyrexian cards.
So that 2 drop and that 1 drop.
Right, if you can't read Phyrexian,
those are played, right?
Point, what are you even doing? Blighted Agent, followed by Kirik, Son of Yawgmoth.
Damn, they have just been printing Crick like
Elf,
crazy.
Followed by Batterskull, followed by Ink Moth Nexus. So this drop is available in both non-foil and traditional foil. $29.99 for non-foil, $39 and 99 cents for foil. So these are
Blink Moth's like $3.
There's 3 cards in there. That Infect archetype in Modern we were talking about. That's those are pretty key cards for that archetype.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Glistener's like $1.
If you're infecting people, you're firmly.
But
on the
it's
side
just
of the
like this is just a 1/1 with infect,
sure?
straight up.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah.
Blighted.
Yeah. So again,
Is that the name of it?
those 2 drops.
That's
will
like
be
a
part of
$1
the Winter
card.
Super drop starting
But this is
January
just
30th
a
at
2-drop
9 a.m. Pacific
infect
time.
unblockable.
Secretlair.wizards.com.
Oh, that's Ink Moth, not Blink Moth. That's my bad.
More when those go up.
That makes sense.
All right.
Joel.
Finally,
Idiot.
Our last drop is actually a WPN
Ink Moth Nexus is like a $34 card.
It is more borderless planeswalkers. We are only going to show off one of the cards today. More details will be available.
We don't have a source mug.
To interested retailers on the WPN
That's why we're not 100%
website.
sure on it.
And then the rest of the drops, so again, we're showing off one card today, will be revealed actually at MagicCon Philadelphia. So let's take a look at the one card we are showing from the WPN exclusive Secret Lair drop. So that is a Nicol Bolas. So that is the sort of manga style art for.
The rest of the drop will be revealed at MagicCon Philly.
People are gonna
Secret Lair panel.
That one. But yeah, so more
Sebastian, I'm sorry, I can't read that, pal.
The rest of the drop will be revealed.
Can you translate that for me?
MagicCon Philadelphia. MagicCon Philadelphia is happening February 17th through 19th. So yeah, the chat's picking up what we're laying down.
Just trying to rough translate it. It looks like you're calling me out about not knowing Spanish, and then I ask you to translate it. That's pretty funny.
Phyrexianized. I think we'd all be doomed. Okay, now we've got about 10-ish minutes for questions. So if you have questions for Andrew about Phyrexia, all will be one.
What should we ask, chat?
And put them in chat.
What should we ask?
And we will see what we can answer. Is Bolas Phyrexianized? No, that is a what if. Show us the new sword.
What should we ask?
The new sword is coming, but it is on an external outlet. It is coming.
I said, is battle a new card type?
Tomorrow or the next day. Let's see. Are we getting more retro cards, retro secret layers this year?
We're going to have to ask this a couple times.
All right. We did talk about this question earlier, but I think it's worth repeating. Why toxic instead of... Oh, actually, we didn't talk about this specifically. So some people have noted that toxic is very close to the
Blake, will you battle me for Mirrodin? Tell me about battle card type. Tell me about battle. Tell me about battle card type.
So first off, we think that the word is actually a better
There's a
fit
26-second timer before I can chat again.
Has some other connotations
They do not want
with
spam.
some of those Dominaria cards. It was on a sliver, and we definitely wanted to make something that felt distinctly more, evil Phyrexian. So we went with toxic, which is, I think, just overall a better fit for the plane and the setting.
Yep.
The village,
will there
I don't know.
be a 5-color legendary creature in this set?
There will be a 4-color legendary creature in this set.
4-color legendary creature?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
They pointed to a track. So tell us about battle.
Up. I'll answer this one. Are those the only secret layers for the winter drop? No, they are not. We just revealed the ones that are associated with this set that have Phyrexian
Yeah,
things
Ink Moth
going on
Nexus is definitely the value in that set. You're absolutely right.
Let's see. Yeah, a couple people wanted to know about toxic versus poisonous. A couple people.
Asked about battle
Are
again.
there any other different counters other than oil and toxic?
There are no +1/+1 counters in this set. This was kind of a restriction that we had to put on ourselves given that Proliferate was in the set. I think there may be a couple other one-off counters, but mainly it's just going to be oil counters and poison counters.
Okay.
No +1/+1 counters.
Gotcha. No,
what a world to live in.
I know, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah, I've seen that build.
evergreen +1/+1 counter.
Yeah.
I actually saw that tweet from.
So Magic, there was talk of Magic changing forever. What was meant by that? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, that's more a March of the Machine thing. Let's see.
They're playing coy.
Is Phyrexia going to get to Bolas and Ugin in the Meditation Realm? Don't know. Maybe. Stay tuned.
Let's try it one more time.
Are the oil-raised foils available in set boosters? So that is a great question. Why don't I just talk through where things can be found, the different treatments and foilings. I very specifically brought that sheet so that I can get all the things correct. Now, for anyone who wants to dive deep on what is found where, in what frequency, there is a collecting Phyrexia All Be One article that will be going up on Daily MTG. It's either going to be up now or very shortly.
That article is always really good. If y'all haven't read those before, they're called Collecting, and then whatever the set is called.
Written by Mike Turian.
It goes through everything where you can find cards in the booster packs and the different treatments, etc.
From his article.
Jake and I have to reference it like 3 or 4 times while we're covering new sets.
Most card treatments can be found in all boosters. The exceptions are extended art cards, as always, are collector booster exclusives. So the ones that have the extended frame, those are collector booster exclusives, as they have been in all sets. The different foilings, traditional foils, can be found in all boosters.
Probably.
The step and complete foil cards, those are limited to collector boosters, and you will get one in every collector booster pack. So the cool Phyrexian symbol in the foiling is in just collector boosters, but you will get one in every pack. The oil slick raised foil cards that we're asked about specifically in this question, those are in the complete bundle. So the complete bundle has 12 oil slick raised foil cards, 2 mythic rares, and 10 lands in every box of the complete bundle. All right. Why are you such a cutie, Blake? Thanks.
Okay. Come on.
Where is Atraxa? So we did kind of nod to it, but Atraxa is right over there. Atraxa will be previewed. There is an Atraxa card.
There is an Atraxa.
There is an Atraxa, but not yet. Not yet. It's coming. And you're just going to have to wait. It's part of preview season.
We've seen it.
We see the Venser token. Eventually. We don't have it up today.
Look at this.
Eventually. I don't think.
Chat. Look at this. This is the best one I've seen so far.
All right. Here's a question for you, maybe.
Sure.
Could Apex Predator Garrick defeat the completed walkers?
All right, Sherlock.
Power level discussion.
Get in there. Get in there. Tell me what we're looking at.
Fully on cursed, hunting all the planeswalkers, Garrick. What happens if he runs into a?
You got to read it like this.
Oh, Garrick wins.
You think
so?
No
No doubt.
All right.
You seen that guy?
Oh, it's an equipment. San Fran fan must have insider information.
He does.
Aaron said it says something about my mom.
Don't know.
March of the Machines is later.
Will the Phyrexian walkers have a Phyrexian language version like the previous ones did? Yeah, I believe we showed that off already. So yes, keep an eye out for those versions.
Relax your eyes like one of those CNI posters. You got to be like,
I don't know.
You'll just have to wait and see.
It's not a question we've dared even ask. Here, you can answer this one if you know it off the top of the head with a yes or no.
Sure.
Are there any new to Pioneer reprints besides Phyrexian Arena?
Yeah, the Allied Fastlands.
There you go. Yeah, those are already out there.
Yep, Allied Fastlands and Pioneer. We knew that.
Let's see. Is there a Phyrexian Lord in the works? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. That's definitely a stay tuned. Here's a good question, because we haven't talked about it here.
Try one more time.
I don't know that we have a space that we're going to dive into it deep. What are the limited archetypes in this set?
Sure. So I think I went over blue-black.
This time I went general. I said, are there any new card types?
You basically want to get 3 poison counters and then just kind of stop and then turn on all your corrupted bonuses. I went over green-white as the go wide toxic.
Yep.
All right, this is gonna.
Here, I'll start throwing color pairs out to you. And then you.
Well, it's more of a memory check for me.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do blue-red.
Okay, blue-red, like I said, is instants and sorceries oil counters.
Okay. Blue-green.
Blue-green is. Oh, let me try and. It is also a toxic color. But I think it's go big toxic. So you're
Spanish speakers, could Battalion mean battlefield? Could that be a translation of battlefield?
Blue-white.
and B maybe like a
That is
planes chase,
So
but
kind of like your
incorporated into
classic control out of
MTG kind of thing?
archetype.
Okay.
Because
Black
like March
red.
of the Machines is
Black
gonna take place
red.
on multiple planes, I'm assuming. Be one of the
That's
first
tough. I
sets that
believe it
do
is a
that.
Sacrifice. Yeah, it's sacrifice a creature
just
or artifact
battle?
for bonus.
Okay. Black green.
Okay.
Black green.
Battlefield
I
is Campo de
believe
Batalla.
is
Okay,
just
all right.
a Toxic
Battle is an
color?
event. All right.
Black white.
I see. Okay.
Black white is corrupted / toxic. It's more.
But
kind
I
of
mean,
like
yeah, they could still call it
in-between.
battle,
You can
right?
win
It could
with corrupted
be
bonuses and damage, or you
the
can win
siege
with,
of
poison
siege of
counters.
Ravnica.
All right.
And
It's
that
the-
is a
we called
battle.
it the perfect victory.
And while we're on Ravnica, you
Try and
get
both of it. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know,
exactly.
2 color
green, red.
combination stuff. Battle, right?
Green
Yeah,
to
yeah,
red,
yeah.
I believe, is oil counters. It's a very oil counter centric.
Andrew, battles like Saga could be good,
Almost
but
there.
they've been
8,
teasing
9.
so
One more.
much that it's
What are-
going to
what are we
change
missing?
Magic the Gathering forever.
White.
No,
No.
we got those.
White. No, we're missing a white.
So just
White, red.
sagas,
White, red.
but
Equipment.
battles.
Mirrodin.
Yeah, that's
That doesn't
why.
really
Sorry.
track for me.
For Mirrodin.
Unless
you.
for
That's much
Mirrodin.
better. All right.
Unless they're everybody
Red
say it for
equipment. All right.
Mirrodin.
Great. There we go.
If they say it, we have to say it.
Let's see. Are we getting Path to Exile on this set? No.
Yeah,
Is
Samurai, I'm
Toxic
wondering
a
if that's
triggered
it. It's just to
ability or
hype
is it
up
a
stuff.
stacked ability?
Toxic does not go on the stack.
Okay. Here's a good question that I'll answer, and then we're just about out of time. Why show leaked cards? Multiple reasons. One, we show them here because this is an owned outlet, and we feel pretty bad when we give an outside partner leaked cards. Now, some of our outside partners are going to show off leaked cards because there's still some value in that, and then also they get to show off the variants. So the variants are new. Of the leaked cards, only the main version of them.
This is not
got out
common
there.
for him
So
to
a lot of
acknowledge
people
that
like
cards
seeing the
leaked.
variants. There's still some value in that. But 2, not everybody engages with leaks. Not everybody goes out there. They like to see the
We
things
do.
roll out. They like
No.
to see them presented in fun and informative ways, like Andrew coming on here and talking. So for both of those types of people, we like to provide that experience. If you want to go out,
Yeah,
if
I
leaks
know,
happen,
Randy. I know
you
he
go
had
off and
mentioned
find
it.
them on the internet and look at them, and that's the way you want to experience it. Absolutely, you do you. But other people like to enjoy them in different ways, and so we provide that experience as well.
It's also a production,
Yeah.
We release things in order, in a cadence that matches the story.
Yep.
And if you follow it that way, I can guarantee you it's going to be more fun.
Yes, the leaks did unfortunately come up before the story, so we like to do the story ahead
don't know, Randy.
of the cards
I think maybe
showing that
both.
off because it makes the story come to life. And the cards do that, but you don't always know what order they go in, and
Right.
it's not always as clear. All right, we are just about out of time, so I will answer this final question.
Look at how similar
What
their
alt
shoes
arts
are.
going to be
It's
in
a
the
weird
set
note,
boosters?
but
So,
these two
set
men are
boosters
wearing very
contain-
similar
You can
shoes.
get Phyrexianized land or Panorama Full Art Land. You can get
I don't know why
Picker
I noticed that.
showcase cards. In fact, there is at least one in every set booster. You can get borderless cards in set boosters. Those are in some packs. You can get Phyrexian language cards in set boosters. Those are in some packs as
I don't know.
well. And then
I was just looking at Blake's shoes. I was like, I like those shoes. And then I was like, I wonder what shoes the other guy's wearing.
We are out of time. I do see a bunch
Look,
of great
I wear
questions
Crocs.
in chat. I apologize for everyone we
'Cause I
didn't
like
get to,
Crocs.
but we've been here an hour, and I thank Andrew for his time. Thank you all for tuning
Chat.
in. So Phyrexia All Will Be One previews are really taking off now.
Do me a favor.
But now,
If you haven't subscribed to our channel before, please subscribe to our channel. If you have been wondering, maybe the Patreon's cool. Support us on Patreon. Jake and I are trying to go full time on this. Be able to stream every day. Be able to bring videos to you every day instead of having to balance our IRL jobs. Help us become our own bosses. Go join our Patreon at any level. Lots of perks. Cool stuff in the Discord. You can ask any of our patrons. We are very community focused around here. We're in Discord every single day, and we're streaming as much as we possibly can. Really appreciate everybody hanging out today. There's a link to our Patreon at the top of the chat. I'm also going to put it right here in chat. And look, if you're not in our Discord and you don't want to give us any money, that's completely fine. Clicking subscribe is free. Joining our Discord is free. Come hang out. Come chat. Let's see if we can like be on the forefront of all the Magic Discords. I'm a big fan of our Discord. I think that you should definitely jump into it. Crocs with socks. John, look. I just got these. I've been wearing these with socks. Ooh, baby. Come on, hit me with the Crocs sandals. For Mirrodin. One more just for you, Tommy. I appreciate you. That's it. That's it. Go check out the Discord. Go check out our Patreon. Lots of perks over there. Tomorrow, we got a big day on the channel tomorrow. Tomorrow we have got a what I'm buying dropping in the morning. I got my first order in for the year, so I'm going through some of the singles that I picked up. And then in the evening, we are doing FoilQuest Dominaria Remastered. Pertinent prying eyes may have seen. Keto, are you still here? Oh yeah, baby. We are cracking into, we've got like 9 collector booster boxes to open, and I'll be opening a draft booster box at the same time on my side so we can kind of swap back and forth and keep the opening going. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're back here tomorrow night because we are opening a metric shit ton of Dominaria Remastered product. There is still a set before Phyrexia comes out. We got to get into this Dominaria Remastered shit. Right at the end, 69 Mega showing up. We appreciate y'all. Everybody, lips in chat for 69 Mega. Make sure you're subscribed. We will see you in the Discord or back here tomorrow night for FoilQuest stream. Love you all, mean it. I'm going to go eat some lunch. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your... What the hell day is it? What day is it? Somebody tell me what